Hello everyone, Voltage here. This is something I've decided to do because I need to put a lot of the things in my brain on paper. The audio might sound a bit weird. So basically all of this is just, like I said, a way for me to brain dump, kind of, get things off my mind. For those who know me, for those who have spoken to me, I'm a guy who likes to talk about a lot of different things. Either if you've chatted with me on Discord or other types of media, social media, or even in VC. I'm someone who likes talking. I'm someone who likes to talk about a lot of things. A reason for that is I'm passionate about a lot of things. I like to learn. I like to learn about a lot of different things, not to a point where I could make a job out of it. Sadly, all of it is a very trivial information if you were to put that on some kind of academic scale. My parents tell me I'm very smart, and they seem to believe that I am quite smart for that fact, that I just, know a bunch of trivia about a lot of things that I could just randomly talk about. Oh yeah, this country has this and that, or oh, during their history they have this and that. If I were to pick some random thing, let's pick something completely random that I probably know about. Something that not everyone would know about. Well, there's people who know. I know a lot of the capital fucking cities of a lot of countries. I love geography. Let's think about. Mm, well, the capital of Norway is Oslo. The capital of Sweden is Stockholm. Everyone knows that. Russia, it's Moscow. Poland is Warsaw, or in French, it's known as Varsovie, which is really weird. It's not written the same way at all. The Czech Republic, or Czechia as it's known now. I guess it's not a republic anymore. It's Prague, I believe. Well, but those are easy ones. If I were to say some random ass fucking African country,
Get on with it, you
I
fucking
don't know
retard.
any of them actually. I'm trying to show that I know things, and I can't remember a single fucking thing. That's the story of my life right now. I'm gonna have to fucking edit all these too out of this.
What do you think I've
God,
been
there's
doing?
gonna be so much editing. So,
Yeah.
in terms of diction, English not my first language, which is why I'm gonna have a lot of fucking field to do. I'm looking at my wave form right now for my audio, and it's there's so many empty spaces in between stuff. It's awful. I'll probably also just cut all of this out, just for the sake of because I like to rant and go off topic.
No, I'm not.
That's a thing you'll see often.
No.
Anyway,
Yeah.
but yeah, no. Trying to
Come on.
Basically, I'm trying to come to
Come.
a realization of I guess I could speak about what I've been trying to do for all, I guess,
Nothing.
not trying to do, because I'm not really trying to do much recently, or in the
Exactly.
past few years even. I've just been trying to live my life, and
How's that been going?
man, my train of thought is always so disorganized when I just do these. I've always been awkward socially in certain things, most things, in fact, up until 2017 when I was diagnosed with a generalized anxiety disorder. And then when I started taking medication, one thing it did for sure is it eased my fears of people. I was no longer afraid of being around others that I considered strangers, and people who I considered strangers were people my family. Not, I wouldn't say my immediate relatives, but I would say people uncles and aunts and my grandparents. For a long time in my life, before 2017, I was a shut-in. When I lived with my parents, I would just shut myself into my room. I would not, if relatives were over, I would hide. Pretty much, I would close my door and I would often lock it. I didn't want to see anyone. And those pills they're basically what helped me become sociable again. And that was a great thing in the sense that now I could actually, speak to relatives. I could show them who I really are, because for a long time I wore, how should you say, a mask over myself, presenting myself as something I'm not. Everyone does it. It's not a new and out of this world thing that only I would do. A lot of people do that. They do it in public. They do it when they're at school, especially in school. I'll have something to talk about that later. Anyway, those pills helped in that sense, but I became so excited to speak to people that I would sometimes speak out of turn. And when I say out of turn, I wouldn't say speak over people. I'm sure you know what I mean by out of turn, because people who English as their native language probably know what I'm talking about. Is I have a hard time knowing what's unacceptable to speak about and what isn't. A lot of people attribute that to, like, being on the spectrum of autism.
My mother thinks I have Asperger's.
While I won't lie that it is one thing that people who are on the spectrum struggle with, especially things like reading the room or knowing that what you're talking about isn't really appropriate or it's not the best time to be speaking about. I do believe that it just comes out of the fact that I just don't speak enough with people to know, like, what you shouldn't be speaking about and what you should be speaking about. I have a hard time knowing what, like, sometimes there's a lot of things in the past, especially online, where I've said things that sounded really, really bad, and I had no idea that they were, and I had no idea that, like, it sounded this bad because I didn't get, like, the context, or I didn't get, like voltage, like, why you say such things, like, that's not cool, man. And I'm like, I didn't get it. Like, I was like, what? Like, yeah, I'm someone who just says things as they are, like, factual and, like, as bluntly as possible. And, like, sometimes some of the things I say can be interpreted, sorry, English is bad, can be interpreted as being malicious or, like, of bad intent. And I've had that problem for a long time with other people online, and that caused me to, like, lose a lot of people, like, to lose a lot of friends online because of that, because they didn't understand, because, well, not that they didn't understand, is that I did not understand that, like, I won't be able to give you examples because some of them are kind of, like, harsh and kind of, like, I felt like shit after a lot of the things I've done, because as fucking stubborn as I am, a lot of the times where I didn't understand, I kind of, like, put it up as, like, oh, they're the ones who don't understand me, or, like, I don't get it why they're getting mad, like, they're just, like, fucking snowflakes or something. And I would just, like, whatever, brush it off and, like, say whatever, you're just, like, I don't get why you're so upset, and, like, you should probably, like, get over it. And in a sense, yeah, maybe they should have, but at the same time, I was incredibly, inconsiderate is a word. Someone called me that, and that's when I kind of, like, it clicked in my mind that, like, I was like, what I was doing was complete, like, what I was saying, the things I was saying, and, like, the fact that, like, people were telling me, like, that's not cool, man, you shouldn't say things like that, and the fact that I would just, like, talk back at them. That's when I realized, like, yeah, no, people have feelings. And yeah, sure, you can't please everyone all the time, but, I don't want to, like, antagonize, I don't want to antagonize myself, as in, like, I don't want to make myself out to be, like, a bad person as much as, like even when I think I'm not, it's like, I'm not trying to be mean or anything. That's what I tell myself, like, I'm not trying to be mean. And in my head, I'm like, since I'm trying not to be mean, then there probably won't, like, that means I'm, like, fucking immune from any kind of criticism or, like, any kind of, like, anything like that. And that is not true, not at all. And I learned that the hard way. And yeah, it was a whole thing for me to deal with. I still have a hard time dealing with this kind of things now. Not as long as ago as, like, maybe yesterday or even today, I think. I said something that sounded a little bit weird because of the way I worded it. And like, I was like, wait, no, I meant it like that. Like, I was trying to be as factual as possible, and I sounded pretentious saying it, and then the person just reacted by saying something, like, along the lines of, like, thank you for informing everyone about this, in a very sarcastic tone, because of, like, I was stating something very obvious to everyone. But in the end, I sounded, like, kind of malicious in the way I said it, because I was like, it looked like I was making fun of a kind of a certain group of people, and it upset me still. I was like, God damn it, why do these people? And that's when I realized, when I said that out loud, I was like, wait, I'm saying these people. I'm still the bad guy right now for just saying things that way. Like, in my head, I'm still thinking, oh, these people, in quotation marks. And I'm like, yeah, no, that's not a good kind of behavior. That's bigoted behavior. That's like that's not the kind of person I want to be. For anyone out there who is able to listen to this rambling, or, like, has even just decided to get this far, I just want to tell you that this is gonna be my closing words. That I'm someone who doesn't mean anything wrong. Like, I don't want to insult anyone. I don't mean anyone any harm. Like, if I do, like, want to be mean, which may happen, it'll be way more obvious than that. Like to a lot of people nowadays are way more sly about things, or like I don't know the English word for it. They're much more sneaky and like slimy. They're like snakes, you know? Like people are like snakes now. They're not as blunt as they used to be. But me, I'm a very blunt person, so like if you try to like underread what I'm saying and like you try to read in between the lines and trying to find that I'm like trying to like say something that I'm not, like you're thinking that I'm like saying something or like implying things. There's a high chance I'm not. I'm advocating for grayscale, even though I'm a very one-dimensional person a lot of the time. As the saying goes, things committed in bad taste aren't considered aren't you know, things committed in bad taste aren't committed in bad faith. Aren't always committed in bad faith, and that applies for me. Some of the things I say might be in bad taste, accidentally, and that sadly that might just be not real. That might just be me not realizing what I've said, and I know not everyone knows that, and I might ask them in the future to just, you know, hey, what did I say wrong? I don't get it. Or I will probably like realize it later on and I'm like, listen, I didn't mean that. Like, although a lot of people won't probably believe me, and that's completely fine with me, I guess. If you believe to be the person you think I am, then very well. There's nothing I can do to change your mind, I guess. Not by words most of the time. I believe people are mostly they see by example, you know. And because I've tried so hard. I've tried so hard with words before to fight to defend myself. And there's a point where to certain people you just seem unredeemable. And honestly, like I found out that like sometimes you just can't win against that kind of like, you know, people who just try to I'm saying these kinds of people again, but you know what I mean. Like to some people you're just irredeemable anymore. You're just irredeemable, and it's impossible for them to, you know, vouch for you anymore for any kind of thing. And I'm like, you know what? That's fine. I guess like I betrayed your trust. I betrayed what you thought of me. Your expectations of me. Maybe you didn't know me as well as you did, or maybe I just, you know, I'm sorry my expectations. I'm sorry your expectations of me were not met. You know, I can't, like I said, I can't please everyone. Everybody's a critic, but you know, I want friends, and I have friends. There are people who understand me. They understand that I'm kind of dense, and those people I will forever hold in my heart. You know who you are. But I still want to, like, you know, have a good impression with most people, and that's it. You know, I've wasted way too much time on this already, so I'll be brief. That's it. Thank you all for listening. If you actually did, I'll probably do a better one of these later on, if I ever do. So now I'm gonna edit this now. Goodbye.